Hi, this is Tim Blankenship with Divorce661.com, and today we are doing a tutorial on how to complete the California divorce form FL-160. So you can see this on your screen. Now we've done probably 250 or 300 videos, and I got an email this morning from someone asking about a video for the FL-160, and I searched to send it to him, and I couldn't find that I had done one. So I am doing this video for them and for everyone else who ends up watching this video. We do get thousands and thousands of views on these tutorials. Just to let you know, we are a licensed and bonded legal document preparation firm. We specialize in divorce in anywhere in California. So if you are looking for a service to help you with your divorce, please make sure to give us a call. You can reach us at 661-281-0266 or at divorce661.com. All right, now let's get into this document here. Now this is good. The reason I want to do this right away is because they actually changed this form recently, and it's much different than it was in the past. So just July 1st, 2013, so a couple of months ago. So it's good that we go over this again because it's a lot different than it was before. So first of all, let's discuss when you're going to use this form. You're probably going to use this form if you're filing a default case, what's known as a true default. You also would use this form if you are doing a request to enter default, which would be the first phase before you file the true default case. You'll have to submit the FL-160s, the property declarations, with the request to enter default. Now, with these forms, keep in mind, you need to do two sets of this FL-160. You're going to do, let's say you're the petitioner, you're going to do a community property declaration. Okay, I believe it's 4 pages. And then you also then have to do a separate property declaration. You're going to have 2 sets of 4 of these FL-160s. And here's why. When it comes to community property, and essentially at the very basic level, this is anything you've bought during the marriage, asset or debt. When you do a default case, the courts are going to require that the property, assets, and debts be evenly divided, almost 100%. When you have separate property, you're basically saying, this is my separate property, things I had either before the marriage or after the separation, it's not subject to division by the court. So everything you list on your separate property declaration is all going to be awarded to you. So let's talk about a community property declaration. The question I had via email was, what goes in the different boxes? So regardless of what your item you're listing, whether it be real estate, furniture, jewelry, and then there's a whole host, vehicles, boats, whatever it is you're listing, you're going to list the item. You're going to put the date acquired. Now the date acquired, month and year is sufficient, and that's what's going to determine if it's community property or separate property. If the date acquired falls within the date of marriage, then you're going to put it on your community property declaration. If the date acquired is outside of the marriage, before or after separation, you're going to put it in your separate property declaration. So date acquired, fair market value, and just as a general rule of thumb, you want to use garage sale values. You don't want to use what you bought it for, what you could sell it for on Craigslist. You want to put a value here. What if you were to put it on your driveway and sell it at a garage sale? That's the value you want to use. The amount of debt, fairly straightforward, and then the net fair market value will go here. So for instance, if you have a $100, let's say, asset, and you owe $50 left on it, you have a net value of $50. On my forms, they autofill. If you're using the court forms online, they probably won't do that. So net fair market value, you're going to put here. Okay, and now proposal for division. If it is your separate property declaration, this needs to be split 50-50. So in F, you're going to say 25 for petitioner and 25 for respondent. Now, if you don't want to divide this particular asset 50-50, let's say, well, I want to keep this. I guess this wasn't a good example on real estate, but let's say this was a watch, okay, and you were listing it down here. So forget that this says real estate, and it was a $100 watch, and you wanted to keep it. So, well, Tim, I don't want to give, have to sell it. So what we can do is say, well, I'm going to keep the watch. It's worth $50 because there's a balance on it, and the respondent's not going to get anything. That's fine. If there's another asset as long as at the end of the day on your community property rather, that it all pencils out to where it's about 50-50. So let's say you had two watches and that's the extent of all your property. You can list another watch. You can say, let's say it was the exact same scenario, okay, and then the respondent's getting that $50. So at least at the end of the day, if you go to page 3 or page 2, it's going to total. Get to page 2 here. It's going to give you a total of the assets and debts here. So obviously you're going to have more than a couple items, vehicles and so forth. So total assets, here's what the court's going to look at. They're going to see the total assets, total debts, total amount to be divided, and what the totals are. So they're going to look at these figures at the bottom to make sure it's evenly distributed if it's on your community property declaration. Each asset doesn't need to be 50-50 as long as it evens out at the bottom. Okay, then you're good to go. The courts are going to require that be evenly divided almost to the penny without exception. They're very particular on that. So that is how you fill out the FL-160. Make sure you have a community property 4-page declaration, and then make sure you do another separate community property declaration. What we recommend is that when you submit these, even if there is no community property, even if there is no separate property, that you still complete this and simply put none in every field. That way they know you didn't forget to do it, that you did it, and there's absolutely no property, and that's the best way to go on this. So thanks to the person who reached out and asked for a tutorial on this. I hope this is helpful. Again, Tim Blankenship, divorce661.com, can help you with your divorce anywhere in California. We are a full-service legal document preparation firm specializing in divorce. Thanks for watching. Call us for any assistance you may need, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.